Hi, we are students from the Cooper Union, and we will be presenting our accessible filing cabinet. My name is Angelica.
I'm Isabella.
I'm Andrea.
And I'm Erin.
For this project, we partnered with an organization called CP Unlimited, which provides opportunities for those with cerebral palsy as well as other disabilities to regain their place in the workforce. It provides them opportunities to work in programs like day programs as well as volunteer services. One job that people have to do at this organization is work with these different files that they then have to organize, scan, and so on and so forth. The issue is that these files come in the form of paper files as well as binders, which vary in their weight up to 10 pounds and are held inside a filing cabinet that is very tall. So the issue with this filing cabinet is that it's inaccessible for people due to the fact that the files are very high and very low, especially for those with wheelchairs. In addition, the files have to be pulled out vertically in some drawers rather than horizontally, which puts a strain on the wrist and makes it difficult to access. So our goal is to enable users to access any file at any point in the filing cabinet with less force. Here you can see an image of the filing cabinet in the office. You can see that's very tall, very wide, and therefore the files are very dispersed, making them very difficult to access. So those in wheelchairs especially can't really access the files that are very high and very low. And also the drawers, specifically the ones at the bottom, require you to pick up the files vertically and then take them out, while the top one you can actually pull out horizontally. Witnessing this in person, we saw and were told that it will be much easier for the files to be pulled out horizontally. So our task is to be able to make these files accessible in this specific way. However, another issue again is the height of the filing cabinet, and therefore the drawers vary in their height. So we want to be able to have these files held to a height that is accessible for everyone, and therefore they must be able to be lifted and lowered to any user. This brings us to our requirements. We want this to be as safe as possible. So we want the speed at which the files are lowered and raised to be relatively slow, which is about 0.25 feet per second. We want them to be able to be accessed at any point, so the files and their drawers must be able to be lifted and lowered to any point within the filing cabinet. We do have a design that is hand actuated as well, and within a budget of $1,000. We want it, again, to be as safe as possible. So we want no sudden drops, pinch points, and we want it to be stable so that only one drawer can pull out of the filing cabinet at a time.
To solve the problems previously discussed in this presentation, our team has developed a new filing cabinet system. So this system involves adding doors, one on each side of the filing cabinet, and within each door there are track extenders that can freely move up and down with a hand crank, which will be explained later. So you can see in these two videos, the track is connected to a chain that is embedded within the door, and when you pull one side or the other, which will happen through our hand crank, the tracks can freely lower and raise, and also there's a rod in the center to prevent tilting. So the entire process involves opening the doors, which is for safety purposes. This means that only one drawer can come out at a time. When the drawers are slid out, they will connect to our tracks in the doors, and then using a hand crank, the users can raise the entire drawer to a comfortable height to access any file they desire and want to work with.
So here we have a general overview of our prototype. We decided to add 2 doors to the existing cabinet. Within the cabinet, each of the drawers will have their faces removed to allow for easier ability to slide the drawer out onto our doors. The chain and sprocket system are actuated with a hand winch, which helps to significantly reduce the load of the drawers on this track extender. The 2 doors' motion are synchronized with the use of a flexible shaft, which when the doors close, fold into the actual cabinet. Here is just the configuration of our gear placement. We decided to add an extra 2 gears at the upper edge because this is where we had more room, and because we needed to allow for a change in direction within the chains. Moreover, it's super important that our gears are coplanar to allow for the meshing of the gear to the chain to be smooth. So we decided to add PETG spacers to keep the gears coplanar. Moreover, the gears are connected to the door through counterbore holes on the back of the door and the front panel. So they're sandwiched between 2 panels with counterbore holes.
I will be talking about the rail design. So as you saw in the videos, the rails are attached to the chains onto the pin in one of the parts of the chain. but also we decided to add a 1/4-inch shaft through the middle, which would attach to the rail through a linear bearing, and this would allow it to not rotate because we were concerned that if we just use the chain, it would rotate. The shaft is also connected by hubs at the top at the bottom of the door, which will prevent the shaft from moving. Moving on to the winch and chain connection, we use a chain breaker to cut the chain to length to make sure it was tensioned and tight. We also found out that the average wheelchair height was 19 inches and the average torso length was 14 inches. So this allowed us to optimize where we were going to put the the winch. And we also modified the winch a little so that it fit well with our chain. And so here you can see a picture of what the winch will look like outside of the door and how the winch looks inside of the door, and that modification, how well it fits with our chain.
For the direction changed for the lever of the winch, we realized that it was too hard to move, so we are going to make an attachment so that there are no pinch points, but also that it is easier to change directions from standing or if you were in a wheelchair.
Thank you.